Today in Demon of the Week we are going to be looking at the 53rd spirit of the Goetia, Camio, or caim, or caim. Welcome to my channel. You are entering the world of magic and mysticism with your host, Lee W. Johnson. Keep the lights on and help improve the channel by becoming a supporter for just $2.99 per month. Hit the join button. Okay, Camio, or as I said, also spelt caim, or I think, or as far as I know, can be pronounced caim. Right, the correspondences. Date September 2nd to 11th. Direction east. Tarot 9 of Pentacles. Planet Mercury. Metal Mercury. Element fire. Color orange. Plant is Centauria. Incense is Storax. Zodiac is 10 to 20 degrees Virgo. And other correspondences, all I could pick up was gold. The N is Tassa Onka Caim Renich. Okay, so straight into the Goetia. Appears in the form of a bird called a thrush at first. A thrush is a blackbird. But afterwards he putteth on the shape of a man, carrying in his hand a sharp sword. He seemeth to answer in burning ashes, or in coals of fire. He is a good disruptor. He is a good disputer. His office is to give unto men the understanding of all birds, lowing of bullocks, barking of dogs and other creatures, and also of the voice of the waters. He giveth answers of all things to come. Alright, so I think from that we can immediately consider pyromancy. He seemeth to answer in burning ashes or in coals of fire, so you could use this in pyromancy, gazing into fire, into the coals itself, and seeing what images come through. He is a good disputer, so probably good in court. And his office is to give unto men the understanding of all birds, lowing of bullocks, barking of dogs and other creatures. This would be good for veterinarians to understand their clients better. All of the little animals that come through, or generally for anybody who likes to be with animals, no matter what the animal is. It does mention the understanding of all birds, lowing of bullocks, barking of dogs, but it also says and other creatures. So this isn't just related to birds, bullocks and dogs. This is related to all animals. So if you want to talk to the animals, another good one. There are several in Goetia who are referenced as this being their office. So but this is a good one. And also of the voice of the waters. So you could use this in hydromancy. Hydromancy itself is reading the patterns that come up in streams, or if you drop a pebble into water or something like that, and the patterns that form. So it is, although I think we could probably add water scrying into hydromancy, it's not technically hydromancy, but the voices of the waters, as the waters speak to you. So those symbols that you see in the waters are the voice that the water presents. It's speaking to you in imagery, and you give all true answers to all things to come. So very much a divinatory type of spirit. Connolly does say that she knows a vet who wore Camio's sigil, sought using pyromancy, can be invoked for divination of any type, wear his sigil to see into any situation you encounter. Okay, so I think this is one of those that from the Goetia we can really, discover what his office actually is, and it's made quite clear actually. Motor Wake just mentioned that from the Gaelic, the name caim or caim with an M at the end rendering of the biblical Cain, but also just mention they are two separate beings. However, Johannam also mentions Cain or Cain, suggests that Camio and Tubal Cain refer to different aspects of Cain's being developed in the course of his magical ascent. So we can have a look at Cain or Tubal Cain. When it comes to Cain, the brother of Abel, and it comes to Tubal Cain or Tubal Cain, I do consider those to be two very different entities, very different people in biblical history, actually. But a lot of people do relate them as being the same. Let's just carry on with Johannam here. Can teach the which. Sorry, I just want to come back to what Johannam says there. So referring to different aspects of Cain's being. We do find this a lot in spiritual work, working with spirits, in that they may have two manifestations or more, multiple actually, and it's kind of referencing different aspects of them. So to put it into a practical circumstance, you can consider me, for example. I am on this channel talking about magic and mysticism and witchcraft and demonolatry. I offer services related to that, so you could call me Lee the Magician. But I'm also a web developer, so you could also call me Lee the Web Developer. So those are two different names relating to different aspects of myself, but I'm still the same person. So it's very similar in nature as spirits, or even we ourselves, go through various stages in our progression. We take on other names. We can look at this from a magical point of view. We may be given a spiritual name. A lot of people call it a witch name. And years later, we go through a new initiation. We begin a different path. We begin something new, and we're given a new name which covers that aspect of ourselves. So we do, through our magical careers, we do pick up different names as we progress. So very similar to that, really. Johannam goes on to say, can teach the witch to project her astral double and cause it to assume the forms of beasts, useful in dream work and object enchantment. Then he goes into some interesting gematria. Caim number is 71. In Hebrew, that relates to idol or elil. Suggests the idea that Caim was once a human. In Islamic faith, Cain was rendered Kabil, or Kabiel, was the first person to found a heathen religion, a cult of fire worship. And in Mormon mythology, Cain and his sister Luluma, or Kalmana, as the first Satanists and the founders of Freemasonry. It's a bit of a far stretch there for the Mormons, but anyway. Also from Hebrew, we find Leom, which means a people or nation, which basically suggests that Cain founded the first civilization. Then, that's interesting in itself, especially if we go into archaeology and historical points of view. The first sort of civilization actually came out of Sumeria, that we know of anyway. So that's an interesting aspect, especially if you look at it from a biblical point of view, because Cain was basically exiled, and he went to what's called the land of Nod, And I don't think anybody really knows where this land of Nod was supposed to be. I don't really looked that much, but we may consider it to be, if Cain was the first or the first person to create the first civilization, we could suggest that he went to Sumeria. Pure speculation, of course. I don't know. We'd have to have a look a bit deeper into the archaeological aspects of that. The Goetia ritual just talks about the thrush, which is a bird related to the nightingale, and then goes into aspects or symbolism of the nightingale. A bird that sings a mournful tune at night. Nested in the symbolism of the nightingale is the story of Philomela, who, after being raped and mutilated, in having her tongue cut out by her rapist, she called out to the gods to be transformed into the bird of the night. Okay, so that's it for Camio, or caim, however you want to say or pronounce that. Okay, so I'll see you next week for the 54th spirit, which is Murmur. Okay, see you then. Have a good one for now.